I'm sure most of us growing up have been told, shut your mouth. You don't want to look stupid. Keep your mouth closed. You don't want flies to fly in. And that's accurate. We don't want flies to fly in. We don't want to walk around on the street because, bugs will fly in your mouth. It has happened. Uh, but the problem with this advice is that closed, like this, is not your natural setting for your jaw. The natural way for your jaw to hang, obviously, we're not going to walk around like that. We don't want people to think we're stupid. We don't want flies to fly in our mouth. But the problem is that is actually the relaxed jaw setting. So when we walk around with our jaws clenched all the time, it causes a lot of tension. Now, this isn't actually what I want to talk about, but this is extremely important as well because we're walking around holding our jaws closed, and all of that tension is leaking into your tongue, it's leaking into your throat, it's leaking into your vocal folds, and you might be grinding your teeth at night. I don't know. This is a thing that I used to do. I used to have jaw seizures every single morning. I would wake up, and my jaw would be like this. I'd be sleeping like this. My jaw would be like this, and I'd have to set my alarm half an hour early before school so that I could turn over and slowly let my jaw relax until normal, and then I could get up because I would clench my jaw so much in my sleep. I don't anymore, thank goodness. But it took 6 months of jaw exercises to make that go away. And I didn't even know it could go away. I thought it was something, it was just normal for me. Like it was something that happened every single day of my life. I just thought that was the way my jaw worked. Turns out it was just chronic tension. And I actually haven't had a seizure since acting school, since I was doing those jaw exercises every day. It took me a long time to learn them, and I did do them every day. I don't do them every day anymore, and I can feel it when I don't do them for a while. The tension does start to come back in. I do get clicks occasionally when I'm very stressed, but I don't get jaw seizures anymore, so that's nice. Anyway, that was a bit of a ramble. The reason, the thing is, we walk around with our jaws closed because we don't look stupid. We don't want flies to fly in. But when we're speakers, we need to be breathing in through our mouth. And that means that we want our jaw to be relaxed in between speaking. Now, you don't notice it because we don't spend a lot of time in between speaking, and you can obviously close your mouth in between speaking. But there are three main reasons why I want you to be a mouth breather. The first two are extremely practical. It's faster. So if I'm breathing through my nose as a speaker and I want to take a full breath, because I usually do, I need a lot of power, I need a lot of life in my voice, so I need to take a full breath in order to project properly and to have that kind of energy. So I need to take a full breath, and I do it through my nose. Okay, now I'm full. That's a long time for people to wait. What if I did that every single time I needed to breathe? Because you don't want to do top up breaths. That's a whole other rant. But you do not want to do lots of little top up breaths. We want to breathe deeply every time. We want to fill ourselves up every single time. What if every time I had to breathe, I had to wait that long to fill myself up with breath before I breathed again? It would drive you crazy as an audience, right? Having to wait for me. And this is one of the reasons, actually, that a lot of speakers do breathe incorrectly, is because they worry about the audience having to wait for them to breathe. And that's because they're breathing through their nose. And of course, it takes forever if you're breathing through your nose, but you shouldn't be breathing through your nose as a speaker, so it's fine. A full breath with a relaxed jaw and an open mouth, that's it. It takes half a second, not even. It's so quick. It's as quick as a top up breath. It just uses a different muscle set. So if you're not used to taking full breaths, then a top up breath is going to take you less time. But that's just because you're not used to it. It doesn't need to take more time to fill yourself up completely. Pelvis, belly, floating ribs, fixed ribs, the whole deal can take a fraction of a second if you've trained your body to do that. So when I'm speaking, Every time I breathe in, I'm breathing all the way down. I'm filling up my belly. I'm not always taking a full breath because I don't always need one, but the availability is there. And I often do, or at least close to, maybe 80%. You don't want to be breathing into your shoulders. You don't want to be having these little top up panic breaths because that's when things get really out of control. You want to be breathing deeply every time. It deals with your pacing, it helps you with your body connection, so many things. Authority, everything. You can only do that if you're breathing in through your mouth. So that is the first thing. Speed. That's the most important one, really. Well, yeah, the easiest to understand, most important. The second one is that if you close your mouth in between speaking, you might get a lot of this kind of sound when you open your mouth to speak again. So I close my mouth to breathe in through my nose, and then I talk, and I have that click, which is really annoying. And if you are speaking online or if you're speaking to a group of a lot of people, you're probably using a microphone, and that microphone is going to take that click and amplify it to the world. And that is going to be really annoying. If I don't close my mouth, I don't get the click. Isn't that cool? And occasionally, like I just now close my mouth for a smile, but otherwise, you're not closing your mouth, so it doesn't matter. Woo! So that's one problem that you can just completely do away with. If you're breathing through your mouth, it's faster and it's not going to make that horrible noise. The third reason is just as important. It's a little bit harder to quantify. But when I breathe through my mouth, my body is more relaxed and I am more emotionally available. So when I breathe through my nose, you can feel, I don't know if you can feel it through the camera, but I can feel when I'm breathing through my nose, there's this immediate wall that goes up between me and my audience. It's almost like it feels like that kind of motion, like stay away from me, like there's a barrier in between us. And the reason for that is psychologically, like physically, my body knows that there are a whole bunch of little hairs and filters and things when I'm bringing air in through my nose, which is the point. That's why we do it outside in the polluted air, because we don't want, all those pollutants to come into our lungs. The nose is doing a really good job of filtering all that through, which is healthy. But when we apply that to our audience, that means I'm holding you at a distance and I'm filtering you before you come through. And so there's more of a barrier there. And psychologically, it has that same effect, even though it's only a physical thing. However, when I relax my jaw and I breathe through my mouth and I let people in, it feels to me when I relax my jaw, when I drop my jaw and I breathe in, it feels like all the walls, they just dissolve. And try this. Next time you're just having a conversation with a friend, do it somewhere safe where, people aren't going to get too weirded out, but just give it a shot. Like try breathing through your nose while you're listening, and then try breathing through your mouth while you're listening, and notice the emotional response within you and the way that they react to you, because you will notice one. I used to use this as a trick, actually. I used to do a lot of interviews for, I was a manager at one of the office jobs that I had. And you'd get all these really nervous applicants. And one of the things that I would do is I would sit there and I would smile and I would breathe through my mouth and just let my body relax and let my breath go all the way down. And I would notice the mirror neurons in them, especially because they're looking to me because I'm a figure of authority. Their bodies would copy my body. And so I could get them to relax a little bit by myself relaxing and breathing in through my mouth in a more relaxed way. Now, you're not going to sit there with your friends, obviously, but you can allow your jaw to relax a little bit, just a little bit. What most people experience when they're relaxing their jaw for the first time, because most of us walk around with this clenched jaw, what most people experience is there will be an instant reaction from your body and possibly from your emotional body as well, fighting you. No, you're not safe. Don't do it. Your body will kind of respond in that way. You'll hit some resistance. And the reason for that is You've been holding on so long, and you've been telling your body how necessary this is. So when you try to let go, if nothing's changed, your body's going, it's like the equivalent of kind of holding on to the edge of a cliff and then going, you know what, I'm going to let go. And your body's like, no, what are you doing? That was saving our life. Don't let your hands go. You're going to fall. But there's no cliff. You've just been holding your hands for no reason. And so your body is going to respond like it's in danger. It's going to respond like you can't let go. You can't let go of control. You're going to be vulnerable. People are going to see things you don't want them to see. All that kind of stuff's going to come up. It's amazing the psychological effects of relaxing your jaw muscles. It's it boggles my mind every time, but it happens over and over and over again. I have seen this with so many people, not with everyone, but maybe 80% of people that I work with. When we truly relax the jaw, when we actually relax the jaw, some sort of emotional defense comes up. Sometimes it's a release, but often just before the release, there's some resistance. So notice that and notice what your body is doing and remind it that it's okay. I'm allowed to relax my jaw. Nothing bad is going to happen. It's just a jaw. It's just some jaw muscles. We can hold a lot of fear in our jaw. We can hold a lot of emotion, all of those words we didn't say, all of the anger we bit back, all of the pain we didn't express. We hold a lot of that in our jaw. And so you are going to potentially have a stronger emotional reaction than you think you should. It's normal. It's just because we do store so much in there. And it's a very strong muscle, so we can. But it's bad for us. We end up, grinding our teeth at night and having seizures, jaw seizures. So they're linked. Breathing through your mouth and relaxing your jaw, those are linked. That's why I'm talking about them at the same time, because it's impossible to breathe through. Not impossible, but it makes it easier to breathe through your mouth if your jaw is relaxed. If your jaw is clenched, or if you have constant jaw tension, you're going to automatically want to breathe through your nose, and that is bad for you as a speaker, because you're going to be taking smaller breaths. They're going to be teeny tiny breaths that are not going to serve you. You're not going to connect to your voice. You're not going to have any power because you don't have enough breath. You're going to be taking forever. It's going to be noisy. There's just so many things that are going to go wrong if, as a speaker, you breathe through your nose. So it's time to start practicing. It takes some time to get used to this. Now, for me, I still breathe through my nose in everyday life sometimes. It depends on the situation. There was a while where I was always breathing through my mouth because I got really excited about it. But now I do often breathe through my nose, like if I'm walking down the street or something, of course. But there are a lot of instances, especially if I'm home alone or I'm just on my computer or if I'm reading, I will consciously let my jaw relax just to give it a break, because there's a lot of tension in there. And it's nice just to kind of, let it all hang out when no one's watching. So I want you to practice. This live has homework. I want you to practice breathing through your nose versus breathing through your mouth when you're listening to people. The first step is when you're listening. Trying to breathe and speak at the same time, way too complicated. Let's not start there. Breathing and speaking at the same time, what is that? Let's start with just listening. It's a passive process. Next time you're sitting and listening to a friend chat or whatever, I want you to notice how you're breathing. And if you're breathing through your nose, go, oh, that's interesting. How does this feel? And then switch to breathing through your mouth through a relaxed jaw. See how that feels. Do that for a while. And then switch back and see if they notice. And then switch back. And when you are breathing through your mouth, make sure you're breathing all the way down into your belly. You don't want to be doing top-up breaths into your shoulders through your mouth. You want to be breathing all the way down into your belly. So that is my invitation for you for this week. I hope that this week treats you well. I hope your jaw and you have a beautiful time just kind of getting to be in relationship with each other again. Just telling your jaw it's okay, can chill out, go on holiday a bit. And let me know in the chat. Let me know, if you do the experiment, How does it go? Please, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time.